The topic is that trans people should not be in the Olympics.
Just having a separate category would be just fine.
There's a Special Olympics.
If I ask them to go cup check and they say, yeah, that's a woman, I'm like, well, damn, all right.
Oh, no! You... What up? It's your boy, That Drizzle, and welcome back to another episode of Rationally Offensive, where we take offensive topics and we add rational, observational truth to them. A lot of these videos, I'm going to try to stay ahead. You know, some of them might be pre-recorded, so I apologize if I'm not up to date on everything, but I definitely will try to do my best to give you the most accurate information. If you weren't already aware of the title of the video, which you probably already should have, because that's why you clicked on it, yada, yada, yada. I know I'm going to get a whole lot of flack for this kind of video, but that's exactly why I'm doing it, is to make people more aware of what they're talking about. The title of the video is called Trans People Shouldn't Be in the Olympics. I know I'm going to get a ton more flack of this. The answer to this is very, very simple. You're just unfair, you're this and you're that, and I'm just like, just look at the people who are competing and you tell me there's a difference there. I don't want to point this out as something that is completely out of this world. This is a topic that will definitely spark a debate. So if you do have any comments, definitely leave them down below. And if you want extended content, you're going to get more of the same, but it's extended content on the COPPA. So definitely check out the COPPA. It is in the description. This video is sponsored by HBO. Help a brother out. By the way, none of these videos, take them to heart. Just do your own research. I'm not responsible for anything you want to take choices on. Please don't do anything stupid. Why do I have to tell y'all? Y'all are adults. I have to tell you. But otherwise, let's get into it. The answer to this is really quite simple. Even if you take a look at my previous video where I talked about how men and women are equal, you can just take an observational truth about it. This is even pointed out and complained about between other Olympians that actually go to the Olympic Games and perform and spend their whole lives actually going. They find that, you know, a dude who puts on a dress and says, you know, hey, I'm a woman now. There's a biological standard that is pushed on them that is beyond their means. You'll see it all the time in the news when the Olympics do show up. Trans women are breaking records. They're pushing the bounds between, you know, what's capable of a woman. But we all know and we all understand it's a very controversial thing to talk about, but it's not fair. You don't walk into an interview and say, where's my job? You walk into the interview to prove yourself. Fairness is the opportunity, not a guarantee. Now, those are different subjects, but when it's talking about this type of fairness is a chessboard. When you think about it, it's a chessboard. Each player has the same number of pieces and the same actions that they can take. It is 100% built on the strategies and skill sets and the memories that have been put into the player's brain that's going to give them the advantage in the game, but otherwise it's fair. So no matter who plays, it all depends on your experience with the game. You'll see it all the time in media. You'll see trans women are breaking records. They're setting the new standard. The counteraction that I'd say to that, and you can find this information for yourself, how many, and I may be incorrect by the time I say this, but how many trans men do you hear breaking records? I'll give you a hint. It's one digit. I'll give you another hint. 0. It is literally a woman putting on a suit saying, I'm a man, competing against these people who are on average 6 feet tall and are built different. We are biologically different. There's no way that we are equal on those terms. If we're just talking biology, there's no way that women can naturally be stronger. That's why we had division. The Olympics were originally set to test the limits of the male body, to push it beyond the means. And then eventually it graduated towards, you know, women involved. But they understood that there is division, that we are built differently, and they understood that. So they had separation. Take Serena Williams, a famous, you know, African-American tennis player. She's absolutely amazing. Love her face. She was in an interview, show talk. I think it was 2016, 2017. And she was talking with David Letterman. She was talking about how men and women tennis are two completely different things.
Andy Murray, he was been joking about myself and him playing a match, and I'm like, Andy, seriously, like, are you kidding me? Because for me, tennis and men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because no, it's true. It's true. It's a completely, it's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder, they hit harder. It's just a different game.
That is the same practice that they put in the Olympics, so separation. So you have male swimmers and you have female swimmers. You have male tennis players and you have female tennis players. What the whole trans people want to actually implement is that, no, I am a woman now, so I want to compete there. And that's where the problem arises. Take CSGO, for example. CSGO understood this early on, and so did Valve, and the CSGO community understood this early on. They took a note. Separation is key. If you were to put someone who has nearly 20 years experience against someone who has 6 months of lucky streaks, obviously they're going to lose because inclusion was interfering with fairness. So what did they do to make it more involved so this way it's still fair for everyone? They had separate teams, so they had all female teams or they had all male teams. Me myself, I actually went through ESL and I tried to start a team myself. Didn't really go very far. But I tried to start a team myself, and yes, there is inclusion. You can be involved, and once you're recognized, you can be picked up by another team, sponsorships, all that jazz, but you're allowed to compete with these top dogs. What's the solution to all this? So this way, they don't feel butthurt about their feelings, and that it's still fair to the people who've been spending their entire lives training for just 1 or 2 days. I'll tell you that. The best solution is separation, segregation, whatever you want to call it. It's separation, and it's not a sexist thing or against someone else. You can be a fruit roll-up or an Apache attack helicopter for all I care. I don't care. But you cannot sit there and be like, I'm going to bring a gun to a knife fight and be like, this is fair. It's not fair. Everybody's heard that saying. You can't sit there and just be like, and just like, well, that was fair, yeah. No, inclusion requires categories where you can do some, I think it's called not powerlifting, but weightlifting. You can have weightlifting over here. You can have tennis and swimming over here. You can have, men over here, women over here. Inclusion, sure, have it, but make it fair. When you have a trans woman against a trans woman, you tell me if it's fair if a trans woman goes against a regular woman. Who do you think would win? Yeah, I don't think I need to answer that. You can set the new roles for more trans women to actually achieve. And it's frustrated for the trans men as well. Don't get me wrong. There's not a single one that has won a record because it's just a woman putting on a suit saying I'm a man. Let's try to figure out something like that because I'm very curious what the youth of today thinks about something like this. Let's do it. Pretty much what how you should respond is you're either for or against it, or however you want to respond. It doesn't matter, but raw input is what I'm looking for. The topic is that trans people should not be in the Olympics. So why don't you? Period. Well, no, not the. I just want your thoughts.
What if I was to answer your question with another question? Why men and women separated in the Olympics?
Oh yeah, we don't do that here. So we don't operate on exceptions. We don't operate on extremes. We don't use what if scenarios. The one thing I cannot do is give my opinion. I can only respond with facts. So answering a question with a question is called deflection.
Well, it's just more something. It's more something to prompt the answer from someone, but a rhetorical question that leads into what I'm gonna say.
Okay, well, I'll roll with it, but understand that I cannot give my opinion. So you may hear me say I don't know much. Cool. So what was your question again?
My question to you was why are men and women separated in the first place?
Why are there no women separated in the first place?
No. Why are men and women separated in the first place in the Olympics?
Because they're built biologically different.
Against each other.
Yeah, they're built biologically different because that's what. Oh, hello, I'll interview you next.
And there can be an unfair advantage.
Exactly.
What if we just simply did the same thing?
Every single Olympian is not okay with the idea of some dude putting on a dress saying I'm a woman and breaking records.
There's definitely going to be some people that are just going to take advantage of this with complete malicious intent and no regard for what it's originally supposed to be for.
What is your stance on? Are you for, against, or something else?
They should have a completely whole section just dedicated to them. That caters to them.
So something else, like a completely separate
Like
category.
how you've got male and female events.
So this way, a trans
Besides,
man can be against a trans man and then set the limits of their body or surgery or whatever. So it sets the limits there versus anything else. Okay, good answer. Good answer. See, this is a very quick topic, but a lot of people that I've said this to just are up in arms about this. So oh, you're doing this. Oh, I want to be included. Oh, you're doing this. I want to be included. And people think it's not
see why
fair.
people are like that, but I also think that you should consider what's going to happen if someone's going to try and take advantage of this, and where can they take that, and what are the consequences from something like that. I remember an article that sort of delved into a subject similar to this. Instead of the Olympics, it was prisons.
Wait, instead of the Olympics, it was a prison?
Yeah. And you basically had trans female prisoners that were raping the genetically born females of that prison. And
Yeah. I can see. I can see that. Even, you know what? I'm not allowed to see it. I can definitely see the statistics that it would probably fall. You can probably relate this to that whole Target incident. It's just like, oh no, I'm female, and then men just put on a wig and say I'm a female. And there are plenty of ways to. Yeah, I agree with you, dude. You just kind of solved it. So that was good. But you come over here.
should trans people be allowed to compete in the Olympics?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Wait, you're not in the shot. Did you want to answer it? Well, I don't know what means. Did you want to answer it?
It's still a weird topic or a weird thing to go about because it's still the male and female thing, but of course there's more things now at this point. But it's still the concept of like, that's how it started as, and now this is the transition to that, given to the point of trans, right? So in that sense, it should be from what was started, not to what that they are at this time.
Oh,
in my opinion. If that makes, I don't think I worded that correctly.
Yeah. Am I on this side, or
I'm
that
just saying
side?
that should stay as is what I'm saying for the Olympics. It's been that way for like years upon years. So it's suddenly, like you had stated, it's like a man clarifying themselves as a woman suddenly is going to join the Women's Olympics and suddenly going to trump them over, a lot of things compared to like a woman clarifying themselves as male and trying to go ahead into that situation. I mean, by all means to them, go for it. By all means on that one, go for it. But it's that choice of the Olympics on that. But it still seems like different advantages from one point to the next.
You were trying to say as safe as possible with these answers. I can definitely tell you're trying to say like, no, but yes, but no. you're not standing.
I'll stop everything. You have everything.
Hey, that's what the channel is called. The channel is called Rationally Offensive. It's not meant to make people feel good. It's meant to put the truth in their face. Fairness, by definition, is not walking into a job interview talking about, where's my job. It's the opportunity, not a guarantee. Go ahead. Any further thoughts on that?
Not really much I can go off of from that.
The reason why the trans people shouldn't be in the Olympics is because, to put it like this way, there are, you ever seen that one guy who said he was female and then, he absolutely smoked all the competition? Remember that?
I think there's a marriage thing over there. I'm not sure what's going on. Before I end the video, let me go ahead and leave you guys with a passage here real quick. It's talking about Solomon. He lived through life, he's seen stuff, and he just kind of made notes on it. So Elisthenes, I know I butchered that, but that's how I remember it. Elisthenes 3:1. It's a long one, but bear with me. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain, and and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate. A time of war, a time of peace. Okay, there's no one there. So Solomon's seeing all this stuff, and he's seeing how life is he's seeing how people are living their lives and how things come to pass. One thing that I want each of you to kind of take away from this is not to be held up in all these things. There's a time and place for everything. The only thing I'm doing here is making each of you aware of what's going on and providing you the tools that you need in order to get through life with a little bit more observational truths rather than trying to nitpick at everything and you can't do this, you can't say this can't happen, that can't happen. Life is just gonna pass you by. It is up to you to discern and figure out, you know what? There's a time for me to be all upset about this, but there's a time for me to relax. There's a time for me to challenge, what that person said or what that person said. This is the same verse that can be applied in other areas. There's a time to love someone and time to say, you know what, I don't like you. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And right now, the time is to listen and to observe and to absorb as much information as you can so that you're better equipped for life. And it's not just this topic that I'm talking about. I'll go over other things on this channel, but the one thing that I am going to do is fix this mic of mine because let me see. I'm going to attempt to try to. I want you guys to be more equipped to go through life, not angry and frustrated and trying to figure stuff out and trying to create the idea of what the world's supposed to be, but instead trying to be a better you. It's not according to what others have said, but what you can observe through observational truth, through the blessings of the Lord, through anything that you can. I know that you can do it because you guys are awesome. If you enjoy this video and you want to see the extra stuff, you want to see all the extra stuff that is on the channel, then go ahead and check out the Ko-Fi in the description. Tell me how to improve these videos. What should I do? How should I edit or whatever? But I think there's a wedding going on. I'm gonna go check it out. I'll see all of you amazing people. I don't know what to call you yet. In the next video. Laters.